Hey, great to have you here. So I'm a little late to the party, but today we're going to take a look at more photos that we got of the 5 San Diego Comic-Con exclusives for 2024. We didn't get really any more information when it comes to price points. Obviously, we can speculate, but really the intent of this video specifically is going to be looking at those additional images that we did get for each of these 5 figures, more specifically going in depth on the 3 Dragon Ball ones. Starting things off, we're going to look at Kakashi here. We have the box art as well here, that kind of swampy light green tints to it. Overall cool aesthetic. He kind of blends into the background, so that's a little unique. I'm not sure, obviously with the whole ninja vibe, maybe that's the intent there, but his body himself actually really blends into the back card of that figure in that box. Then we have our generic photo that we've gotten already with him looking off to the side. From there, we have additional photos. So the first one, we have him just kind of staring at a blank stare. Looks like he's very frustrated at whoever he's looking at here. That blank look, just grabbing his headpiece there. I don't know a whole lot about Naruto itself, so I'm just highlighting the images for this first one. After that one, we have more of an attacking pose, so he's more lunging towards the camera, still with that same overall face aesthetic to him. And then we have him with his hand up near his mouth, and then more ninja aesthetically looking pose. So overall, I'm not going to go, as I said, too much into depth on the Naruto figure. I don't know a lot about Naruto specifically, so this is just a high level what the additional photos we got for him. And then the Godzilla figure is the second one we got. So looking at the box, originally we have that light blue aesthetic around Godzilla, really highlighting the glowing of those spikes, which we'll get into here. The first photo, we have somewhat of a almost movie poster aesthetic look, where the camera is from the ground looking up at him, and he looks like he's just about to come into the city and just wreak destruction on everything. Cool, just overall viewpoint of this original photo. From there, we have him roaring, so more of a panned out shot of his entire body with his tail wrapped up, just giving you an idea what the figure looks like in its entirety. Cool look. I think, in my opinion, if you have other Godzillas, I'm not sure this one does a lot more unique to it, other than the spikes, which we'll get to, but definitely meets that era that they're going for with that late 80s, early 90s look of Godzilla. The next photo is really, I think, the one that highlights the more uniqueness of Godzilla. So you see, obviously his jaw is posable. You see his jaw is closed in this photo, but the main point to highlight is those fluorescent blue spikes. That's a really cool addition here, just showing him in that somewhat powering up atomic breath aura that he has in those spikes. So if there's any draw to the figure, I think this is really the pull that folks are going to have for this exclusive. And then finally, we have a similar to that second shot where we have Godzilla just back out full view of everything. A little bit different here, showing the articulation and different options for the tail. I know tails can get tricky with Godzilla figures, just how much space they take up, so I probably would lean towards more that second photo where you have it wrapped up behind him, but just showing the length in general here is fully displayed on this photo. So with that, after quickly running through the Kakashi from Naruto and the Godzilla 89 exclusive that we have there, we're going to jump more in depth into the 3 Dragon Ball figures. So we're going to start things off with Jiren. Obviously, we got our original photo of him previously that just has him with his blast attack in his hand, looking really angry at the camera. From there, we're going to look at a few more photos we have of him. Jiren doesn't have a whole lot of accessories with him, so it's just more different posing and different options you have for him. First one we have here, I think, really shows off how Jiren looks as a whole and really shows that metallic-y red shine, especially to his pants. Probably best of any of these photos here. You see him kind of just leaning back, powering up. A little bit of gapping in the chest, but that's kind of to be expected, especially if you want good articulation there. But overall, cool angle of him just, as I said, showing off the entirety of the figure. So if you're looking for a photo that just covers everything, I think this shows as much as you need as far as what Jiren ultimately is going to look like. From there, we have some additional battle shots of him getting punched back. You can definitely pair this with a full power Goku. That would be a great combination, or a Ultra Instinct Goku rather. I think that would be a great combination just having with this Jiren of him getting blasted back. These are all new photos from what we've had in previous releases. I think previously when Full Power Jiren came out, we had him punching UI Goku. So a bit of a reversal here with showing, hey, if Jiren's getting hit, this is what he could look like. So cool look here. I like showing off a little bit more of the red of the waistline being a little bit different than the pants as far as coloring there. You obviously have his grimacing face as well with the eyes closed. And then another photo, just another look of him. You have him looking as if he's about to brace for an attack of somebody or prepare for someone coming at him. Just that grimacing face with the eyes open this time, with his hand reaching out. So just a few different hand options as far as what's really unique to this one. I think that big highlight here, as you can see on his pants, a little bit of that ripped where his skin's underneath it. So not much unique in this next photo. From there, we have him just in his power stance where he's just standing up essentially and just facing up his opponent. So I think Jiren's big criticism typically has been his lack of character development, just lack of character overall, and just having that very stoic, you're not really interesting as far as his background. And I think this image probably captures that, where it's him kind of having the Superman pose where he looks very powerful, but there's not much to him beyond that overwhelming power. Then finally, last photo we have of him here, we have him doing another attack with his hand kind of slicing across somebody. I think the real cool addition for this one is showing another face that I don't believe we've gotten in any other photos. We have him yelling here, so just a alternate approach to having Jiren. I think this is one that actually does show some of that character development or some of that personality that Jiren doesn't too frequently exhibit. If you want to have anything that does show that, I think this one really highlights it. And as far as really what to call out here, I don't think there's much unique here. If you have the original full power Jiren, you pretty much know what to expect with this one, I imagine. You see some of the versatility with the articulation, but it's relatively straightforward here as far as not much change overall from the prior release. Then we are going to jump into the Super Saiyan Trunks from Dragon Ball Super and have a few photos here to share. Same as what I mentioned about Jiren, these are all new photos that haven't been used in prior release of Trunks. So we have our starting one where we have him just powering up that Gallic Gun attack that we've seen previously, so I won't spend a lot of time on this one. From there, we have him looking towards somebody with those blasty hands. Almost originally looks like he's wearing gloves. I imagine that's just a tinted coloring of his hands because overall the aesthetic of the image is very purple, so I imagine that's just skin color hands and it just may look a little weird, but that's nothing really unique there. It's, you know, him doing an alternate blast attack from having that Gallic Gun backup pose, so not much change there. Then we have him with just a smiling face, grabbing his sword, so it's tough to see too much of what the pouch for that sword is ultimately going to look like as far as the connector, if it's going to be like the recent Boy from the Future attachment as far as how that belt wraps around and reconnects to the sword casing. Not sure, we can't see too much there, but I imagine it'll probably be similar to that. And then we have him reaching back, grabbing it, so really just showing off Trunks' personality as far as the sword representation of him. Also, as mentioned, a new face for him with that kind of just smirking smile that you typically get for somebody like Vegeta, so definitely representing his father well here. And then next up we have him using that sword, so this is probably the most animated pose that we got of Super Saiyan Trunks. Him having the sword and slashing it, and with a screaming face here, so face overall looks like it could be the same one that we got from that first photo, but just a showing off that using the sword in action and what ultimately that looks like. As I said, I imagine this will play very similar to prior Trunks releases when it comes to how that sword ultimately looks. And then finally, another one of Trunks where it's super similar to that second photo where he just has the blasting hands pointing out at somebody. Instead, this time he has the grimacing teeth instead of the yelling, and he's up in the air. So not a whole lot of uniqueness for the photos here of Trunks. A little bit disappointed in seeing not a whole lot that we're getting that's shown here. I assume at this point it likely means some of the items that we came with for the original release probably aren't coming back. I know he previously had a powered down just blue hair, which we haven't seen to this point, so I'm not sure that'll be coming. We had a broken sword, which I haven't seen here, and then you had his longer sword that he ultimately used in Super. So as far as accessories that they've shown off, at least, which feels like if they had more, this would be the time to show them off, but doesn't seem like we're getting really anything beyond what we originally shown in that first photo, which is pretty disappointing in my opinion. You know, we have his blast attack, his sword, but other than that, you're just getting a standard Trunks here. So it will be interesting to see what the price point comes in this one, because he doesn't have those extra pieces. In my opinion, I feel like that should bring down the cost and the value of him a little bit, but with convention pieces, you never know exactly what they'll really be thinking here. So time will tell, see what that ultimately looks like. And then when it comes to the Goku we have here, this is the one that I think that I've grown the most fond of, or just my opinion has increased over time. I know originally I thought, we're getting a Saiyan Raisin Earth Goku, cool accessories with Nimbus and Gohan, but I'm not sure beyond that. If you already have a Goku, it's probably not for me. If you don't have Jiren or Trunks, those would be good opportunities to pick them up. So that was kind of my original thinking. Showing off the original photo we had here, we had Gohan in Goku's hand flying on Nimbus, so very cool representation of the extras that Goku comes with. Beyond that, we had a different angle of that Nimbus, so you see a little bit better what that looks like with the elongated kind of tail of the Nimbus cloud branching out beyond him. I'm curious to see exactly how that's going to function, as far as it looks like he's pretty much just balancing on it. It doesn't look like there's anything really holding him down there, so it'll be tricky to see how easy that is to use. And then obviously you get his windswept hair that he had in the prior photo as well. And as far as Gohan goes, we'll have to see. I'll show you some more photos of him to see aesthetically and what accessory-wise what he can do. Next photo is really cool, and I know this is one that was used frequently in the show when it came to having transitions for the show, or any coming back from commercials, anything like that, with Gohan in Goku's lap and Goku looking backwards, and just them being in a very happy mood. This looks like a new faceplate for Goku. I'm not sure this is one we've really seen before. It may still be the same one that he's using on Flying Nimbus, but I don't feel like this is a look I've traditionally seen Goku in that we've had in the past. Then you have Gohan is here as well. Looks like he's doing the same pose as he is when he's on Nimbus, so not much change for him there. Goku's arm looks a little bizarre in this photo, if I'm being honest. It's like twisted upside down so he can like flex down over Gohan's head. It looks a little odd. I get the point of needing to do the photo and having limited options, but I think that looks kind of strange, but I get the point of trying to represent the prior photo, or the representation from the show. Next up is the last photo that we have that includes Gohan. So this is where we see a little bit of change in what he looks like. So it does look like articulation in the arms. Gohan has one arm down, one arm up, and overall, beyond that, looks mostly the same. He's a little bent over though here, I believe. He still looks kind of bent over in the original one, so this may be a situation where he can rotate his head and his arms and maybe legs will move around a little bit. I would say definitely his arms, definitely his head. Beyond that, the articulation is to be determined as far as what we can do here. But once again, another photo from the show where you have him looking with Goku at the camera in their iconic over-the-shoulder look. And then next up for Goku, we have an angry face. So this is a brand new face I haven't seen before, but this is one he has done previously in the show as well, with that just angry face trying to power up. And I really like the expression here. We don't get a whole lot of expressions with prior or older releases of figure arts, and I feel like over the last year or two they've really ramped up having line work around the eyes and really showing those expressive things that come out of the anime, come out of the manga really well here. So love the addition of this face here. And then finally we have Goku with the power poles. So this was an accessory that came previously. I think it was a Comic-Con exclusive as well that was like $20 that was able to get picked up at Comic-Con. Really just looks like a straw sometimes, but if this comes with this as well, it's a really cool addition that just, if you're getting Goku anyway, having more options for him is awesome. So like to see this inclusion here. Definitely looking forward to having that as an additional piece for him. And I do want to call out, we did get boxes for each of these three as well. So we have Goku with his orange box. I think this one looks great. Obviously there's a lot packed in that small amount of space, so I imagine it's going to have some thickness to him. Then we have the Jiren box, which I think this one pops really well too, especially the differential of colors here. We have Jiren with his kind of lighter tones and then that really dark red backdrop for him. So that's one I really enjoy. And then Trunks is awesome as well. Similar situation where you have him really stand out from the It's almost red, purplish backdrop for him, almost that magenta color. And I like the pose that they had for all three of these guys. The image that they used on the front are really cool. You have Goku holding Gohan, you have Jiren with that powering up pose, and then Trunks with his two hands out blasting. So overall, they always kill it with the Comic-Con boxes especially. So if you're really into those things, I think they do a good job representing those here. If I'm saying probably what changed my viewpoints since my prior video on these convention pieces would be, as mentioned, I'm not into Naruto, so Kakashi probably stays around the same. Godzilla has me a little more interested. He's probably not one I'll pick up, but those spikes are a really cool addition. So if I was into Godzilla, my thoughts of that would go up. When it comes to the three Dragon Ball figures, we have Jiren, Trunks, and Goku. I don't have a Jiren or Trunks from Super personally, so those were higher than Goku to me previously. I don't think those went up. Honestly, especially the Trunks not showing any additional accessories, I think Trunks went down in my opinion. Jiren's probably about the same, but Goku definitely rose quite a bit. As mentioned, I already have a Standing Razor Earth Goku, so I wasn't really bought into this, especially imagining the price point's got to be, I don't know, it could be around that like $90 with all they're throwing in here. Having that power pole, maybe even more at this point, because you have Gohan, Nimbus, power pole, new faces, so I could see this one being more expensive than I originally thought, and probably the most expensive of any of the three Dragon Ball figures, but we'll have to see ultimately what these cost. But I would say as far as what's grown in my opinion, definitely that Goku. I know on a poll previously he did really well, so I think fans are really in favor of him, and I imagine the photos that we got here really push that even more in favor of Goku. So those are just my thoughts. As mentioned, we hope to get more details on price and additional details later on as we go, but just wanted to share some additional photos that we did get of each of these exclusive pieces. What do you guys think? Have you changed your opinion on what you want to pick up? Have you doubled down on anything? Just overall, what are your thoughts of this new information on some of these? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.